Medyo nalito lang. Alright, yan. Ito din yung na lesson. Okay, tama? So, yung lesson natin is Digital Art Revolution. Let's begin. May dalawa to, no? Dalawang PowerPoint ito. We have the Digital Art Revolution and as well as yung sa photography, yung sa product photography. Okay, so in the historical evolution, it is the 1960s that the digital art began in the 1960s with pioneers like John Whitney, who used algorithms and computers to create art. His work set the stage for future artists exploring technology-driven creativity. So, itong 1960s na ito, this is a start of digital contents, no? Yung when we say digital, hindi yung mga videos na yung parang simula pa lang ng World Wide Web during this age. Kaya nagsisimula pa lang rin yung mga algorithm na tinatawag, no? And huwag niyo sipain yung ano niyo ha, kasama ninyo sa natin, sa room natin kasi pabalik-balik. Tapos nagkaklase tayo eh. Okay. So, it is the 1960s, the origin of the algorithm, the start of the algorithm, the use of algorithm through John Whitney. And this time, yung simula pa lang ito ng internet, yung 1960s. Kaunti pa lang talaga yung gumagamit ng internet. But it is during the 1980s, no, 20 years after, nagkaroon ng digital photography. Yan. Yung digital photography and the advent of personal computers which allowed artists to experiment further with digital media, artists began to integrate digital technique into traditional art practices. So nagsimula yung digital photography sa 1980s. During the 1960s, iba pa yung concept ng algorithm nito eh, no, nung age na ito. Compared sa algorithm na meron na tayo ngayon sa kasalukuyan. But remember that during the 1980s, saka lang nagkaroon ng digital photography. So during the 1960s, wala pang digital content, more of textual yung mga laman ng World Wide Web during the 1960s. Ayan. At yung mga images during the 1960s are more of are more of hard copies, no? Hard copies, dine-develop ng mga images. But it is the 1980s nang magkaroon ng digital photography. Nagkaroon ng cards, no, SD cards, and so on. And now, in the 2000s, in the year of 2000, 20th century, by the 2000s, the internet and social media transformed digital art. New platforms emerged, offering artists global visibility, and art communities thrived, joining artists from various backgrounds. So, dito na nauso yung social media. Yan, at yung ating display of art during this time ay more of digital na or more of the social media na at hindi na sa mga museum. Digital tools, the release of tools like Adobe Photoshop revolutionized art by offering artists powerful new ways to create. Today, digital tools provide extensive palettes, effects, and tools to manipulate digital canvases. Digital technology has enabled new art forms such as digital painting, 3D modeling, and animation. These forms offer endless possibility for artists to express creativity in new dimensions. So, nauso nga no, yung digital tools. Itong mga tools na ito are softwares, mga software and applications that are capable to produce and create digital arts. So, isa na nga dyan yung Adobe Photoshop. And then, Adobe Photoshop alongside with other Adobe products, no, creates revolutionize yung tinatawag natin digital painting, 3D modeling, and even animation. Yan. Even the visual effects ng mga pelikula, ang ginagamit ay mga digital tools na tinatawag. So, ngayon, ang problem sa kasalukuyan, yung problema na kinakaharap ng 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 sining, no, sa kasalukuyan is the democratization of art. Digital platforms like social media have made art more accessible. Artists can share their works globally, bypassing traditional gatekeepers and connecting directly with audiences, transforming both creation and consumption. Ba't naman siya naging problema, sir? Hindi, ang ganda nga po niya kasi access and sharing, di ba? Sipin mo, lahat naging accessible, naging mabilis sa iyo makakita ng mga bagay-bagay. Bakit siya naging problematic? Kasi nga, yung biglaan na accessibility na ibinigay ng social media sa mga tao, hindi yun ma-handle ng tao, hindi yun ma-handle ng society. So, ngayon, nagkakaroon ng mga mistreatment doon sa art and the artist. Katulad ng may mga art na nagagaya, di ba? May isang artist somewhere from other country na hindi kilala, di ba? So, ginaya yung kanyang artwork. Tapos, ang nabigyan ng credit ay yung nanggaya at hindi yung original na gumawa nung artwork, 'di ba? Kasi nga naging global na eh. Global na yung sakop nung nung sining. Global na yung exposure. A certain art can be seen globally. Kaya kung sino-sino na nakakita. So, itong pagkakita natin sa mga sa mga artwork na ito, can someone influence us in making another artwork? Na, alam niyo yun, yung artwork na gawa mo, nanggaling lang din yan somewhere sa nakita mo eh. 'Di ba? So, wala nang originality. At minsan, nakikredit ay yung gumaya or na-influensyahan, no? Sabihin natin na-influensyahan or kumbaga ay naapektuhan na lamang ng original na artwork. Ganun yung nangyayari. So, now, in the global art connectivity, we have the different community, social media rather. We have social media platforms that can be used by artists to showcase their artwork. Yan. We have the Instagram, pinaka simple yan, no? If you created an artwork, a painting, a photograph rather, no, you can post it in the Instagram. Behance is Adobe platform. Yan, it is a social media for art creators to showcase their artwork and portfolio for the clients. DeviantArt naman, it's an art community and that foster artist collaboration. You will post here an artwork and then the community will comment, no, or criticize the artwork to develop it, no, para magkaroon ng papagandahin, mas mapaganda pa. Okay? Kalaman. Okay. And of course, the ArtStation as a creative marketplace, yan, facilitate art sales worldwide. So, meron kang artwork, digital artwork, you can post it sa ArtStation, and then there are other people who can purchase your artwork. No, pwede mo ibenta yung artwork mo. Diyan bumibili yung mga gumagawa ng mga shirts, no, yung mga design. Ayan, binibili nila yung sabihin royalty or yung copyright no artwork so that they can use it in their business. So, may mga ganyan na mga platforms. Emerging art forms, there are emerging art forms na nangyayari sa sa kasalukuyan, no? Of course, we have the AI art, or the artificial intelligence, or the AI generated art uses algorithms to create visual autonomously through conversation. Though controversial, it pushes boundaries, questioning the role of machine and human in art creation, sparking debate in the art community. And so, yung AI generated art are artwork created by machine. So ngayon, medyo it spark debate kasi nga dapat ang artist ay tao. Kasi yung definition ng art natin is art is a creative expression of human emotion in ideas and experiences. Kaso, ang nangyayari, this AI generated art are created through prompt and created by the machine and not human. So how can we call them art if they are created by machine and not by human? Ayan. So may iba namang school of thought na nagsasabi na it is still created by man, no, by human, because yung prompt to control the machines ay gawa ng tao, o yung tao pa rin yung kumokontrol ng makina, ng machine, ng computer, ng AI. Ayan. And we have the virtual reality immersive viewers, yung VR experiences, 3D art environments creating interactive and engaging experiences. It offers a new medium to our storytelling, allowing artists to create and explore entirely new worlds. And lastly, the digital installation. And installation use digital projections and interactivity to transform spaces. Artists use these methods to create immersive environments, challenging perception and inviting audience perception in new ways. So yung digital installations, yung room, no, yung example niyan, may isang room na nakaproject doon yung mga artwork, then immersive siya kasi papasok ka doon. So para kang kabilang doon sa experience na yun. Well, the virtual reality experience naman, or VR experiences, we have to use the VR glasses, yung mga Apple Vision, Google Oculus, no, yung Oculus na mga salamin, para ma-experience mo yung VR experiences. Yeah. Gumagamit tayo ng glasses na tinatawag, mga antipara. Okay? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Heart naman kayo dyan. Yeah, thank you. Ayan, there are popular software available. We have the Adobe Photoshop and Corel Painter are popular for digital painting. Krita offers free, powerful alternative with Affinity Designer and Procreate are popular for vector and iPad artwork, respectively. And we have the features and tools. The digital art tools often include various brushes, layers, and animation capabilities. Such features enable artists to experiment and innovative, expanding the boundaries of what is creatively possible. So, may nabanggit tayo dito na tinatawag na vector. Yan yung vector, and popular for vector and iPad artwork. Meron tayo tinatawag na raster and vector. No? Ano ba yung raster and vector? Raster ay these are images that are captured by camera and then later on processed by computer. So halimbawa, meron kang digital camera, nag-take ka ng picture, i-edit natin yon sa Adobe Photoshop o kaya Adobe Lightroom. Ang tawag doon is raster file. Raster images are ito yung nagbe-blur, nagpe-pixelate, no? Kasi as is na siya, kung ano yung size ng data niya. Halimbawa, nag-picture ka in a 24 megapixel na camera, yun na yung ano niya, yun na yung maximum ng kanyang resolution, no? Yung kanyang data na tinatawag. Pag binanat mo siya or pinalaki mo pa siya, there are times na nagiging ano siya, pixelated or blurred. Unlike vector, no, logos, yung mga logo, ginagawa yan as vector. Bakit? Kasi yung vector, palakihin mo siya ng napakalaki o paliitin mo siya ng napakaliit, yung quality niya pareho. Bakit? Kasi all of the pixels, all of the data na nandoon sa vector file ay created by computer. Unlike sa raster na images, ayan, kung ano yung na-capture ng camera, yun na yung kanyang limit, kumbaga. Okay? So, now, digital art impact. Digital art has changed how we interact with art. It allows for immersive, interactive experiences, enabling audiences to engage with art in dynamic ways that traditional forms could not offer. Ayan. So, yung painting, sculpture, may experience ka dyan, pero iba pa rin yung experience sa digital art. Ayan, mga digital art. Kasi ang daming pwedeng paggawin sa digital art. Ang daming, yung isang sining, yung isang artwork, maraming pwedeng gawin sa kanya. Pwede mo siyang gawing virtual reality experiences. Pwede mo siyang gawing digital installation. Pwede siyang post lang sa social media. No? Mas madali nating maranasan yung digital art compared sa traditional art. Because traditional art are located or usually placed in a museum na kailangan maging physically present ka doon or maglalaan ka ng oras to experience that, no? Unlike ayun, hindi katulad ng digital art, cellphone lang, lahat naman tayo may cellphone, so madali nating ma-experience. Okay? And of course, ano ba yung future trends daw, no? The future trends is the AI integration, AI programs creating art autonomously and expanding debate and potential impact niya, expanding debate on AI and creativity. Blockchain, yung blockchain parang mga ano yan, parang mga NFT ba tawag doon? Yun yung parang mga character ng mga images, mga character na mayroon siyang certain price na kailangang parang binibili natin. Ayan. Naalala niyo yung Axie? Ayan, sino mga nabiktima rito ng Axie? Ayan, blockchain yan, yung Axie na yan. Yun. And of course, we have the augmented reality. We have the AR tools overlaying digital art on reality. So may ang nauuso ngayon yung augmented reality sa engineering, no? Sa engineering, sa interior design, meron ka lang i-scan na QR code, tapos pagka-scan mo yon, you can use your cellphone to view the augmented reality. Yung design halimbawa ng isang building na tinatayo pa lang, by scanning a certain QR code, kaya mo nang makita anong yung kakalabasan nito pag natapos, no? Yan yung mga augmented reality. Yan. Punta naman tayo ngayon sa photography kasi siyempre kasama ng papunta na tayo sa digital art. Under the digital art is photography. So kahit papaano sana magkaroon tayo ng ideya tungkol sa basic ng photography through these three exposure triangle na tinatawag. Itong part ng 3 parts of the exposure triangle. So when we say exposure triangle, this is itong tatlo na ito, the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed are the 3 factors for a photograph to be captured. Now, ginagamit natin itong tatlo na ito para ma-capture natin ang mga picture. Okay pa ba kayo dyan? Ano naman kayo dyan? React naman kayo dyan. Okay pa ba kayo? Before we proceed, para alam ko lang na nakikinig pa kayo. Thank you. So, now, ano ba yung ISO? No? Yung ISO, kung sino yung mga may digital camera, anyone here who have experience using a digital camera, a DSLR, for example, please raise your hand. Yan, nakagamit na, nakahawak na ng DSLR. Ayan, meron. Dalawa. Yung iba hindi pa, puro cellphone lang. Okay lang 'yon, no? If you are using cellphone, no, you can see this by going to your camera and then doon sa camera ninyo, go to more. Doon sa more, may makikita yung professional. Yan, pro, or professional? Meron ba akong ganun? O pala yung wala, no? May pro ako rito, may pro. So, sa pro ng camera ninyo, makikita nyo yan yung mga ISO. Yan, we have the ISO, white balance. Yan, yung S is the shutter speed. Yan, shutter speed yan. The ISO, yan naman yung 100, 160, 200, 250, 64, 6,400. Yan naman yung tinatawag nating ISO. Okay? And aperture, teka lang. Wala kasing lente itong wala kasing sara yung aperture. Wala kasing sara yung cellphone natin. Ibig sabihin, walang lens na ginagamit. So, let's discuss this. So, ang makikita nyo dyan is the ISO and the shutter speed. So, let's begin with ISO. Okay, so ano ba yung ISO? ISO refers to the sensitivity of the camera sensor to light. Okay? So, ISO refers to the sensitivity of camera sensor to the light. A lower ISO value means less sensitivity, producing clearer image, or appropriate for a well-lit environment. Halimbawa, tanghaling tapat. Kapag tanghaling tapat, yung ISO mo dapat 100, pinakamababa, no? Kasi nga less sensitive. Tandaan nyo, photography and videography are more of about light, no? We need light to capture images, 'di ba? So, yung sensor ng camera, it will capture images through light. So, mas sensitive siya, mas gumagana siya kapag kaunti yung liwanag, no? Ganun yung idea. Kapag less sensitive, hindi niya kailangan ng pag less sensitive yung ISO, kailangan niya maraming liwanag. Kapag kagabi, halimbawa, kaunti lang ang liwanag, kailangan mo ng mas sensitive na camera, no? Much sensitive. So, higher ISO can capture images in low light but increase noises. Meron tayong mga camera noise, parang pixelation, no? Parang may parang merong gamo-gamo, yung parang ganon. May gumagalaw dun sa image, grain or noise na tinatawag. So ngayon, anong effect niya? Higher ISO settings can cause digital noise leading to grainy photos. However, they allow shooting in poor lighting conditions. Kapag gabi, mataas yung ISO natin. Kapag kagabi, pag tanghaling tapat, maliwanag, lower yung ISO natin. Kasi nga, sensitivity yan nung camera. Naintindihan ninyo? Thumbs up nga kung naintindihan ninyo. Basta ang concept, pag tanghaling tapat, 100 lang yung ISO, pinakamababa. Kapag gabi, low light, dapat mataas yung ISO para makakita yung camera. Okay? Now, wag muna tayo sa aperture, punta muna tayo sa shutter speed. Shutter speed, ayan, shutter speed controls how long the camera's shutter remains open to expose light to the sensor. Ayan, faster speed is freeze motion, while slower speeds capture movement over time. Adjusting shutter speed affects image exposure and motion capture. Ibig sabihin, yung sabing motion capture, di ba may time na parang yung camera mo blurred yung kuha? Ibig sabihin, masyadong mabagal yung iyong shutter speed. In order to capture moving object, dapat mabilis yung iyong shutter speed. Yung shutter speed naman, if you look at your cameras, no, dun sa camera, punta muna kayo sa camera. Ayan, sa S, meron nakita kayo dyan, 30. Ayan, unahin natin yung pinakamabilis. Yung pinakamabilis sa cellphone ko ay 1/4000. Yan yung unit niya, 1/4000. Ibig sabihin, mga kapanalig, yung isang segundo, no? I-divide niya into 4,000. Imagine niyo yun, no? Yung isang segundo, i-divide niya into 4,000. Ganon kabilis yung shutter speed. Okay? Ngayon, bumababa yan. Halimbawa, 1/60. Anong mas mabilis? Yung 1/4,000 or 1/60? Ang sagot ay 1/4,000. Bakit? Kasi po, sa 1/4,000, yung isang segundo, i-divide mo ng 4,000. Ganun siya kabilis. Ngayon, yung isang segundo sa 1/60, isang segundo, i-divide mo sa 60. Di ba? So, mas mabagal ang 1/60. Kasi, maliit lang eh, di ba? Kumbaga matagal. Hindi katulad ng 1/4,000 na kailangan niya napakabilis niya. Okay? That's the idea ng shutter speed. Halimbawa, may gumagalaw na kotse. Tinatansya mo yun. Gaano kabilis yung kotse na yan? Diba? Dapat mas mabilis yung shutter speed ko kaysa sa kotse para malinaw niyang makapture yung image ng kotse. Yan. So, ganun yung idea ng shutter speed. Naintindihan ninyo? React nga kayo yan, no? Nakakaintindi. Mag-heart nga yung nakakaintindi. Yan, thank you. So again shutter speed tayo. Kanina, meron tayong ISO. ISO has something to do with the sensitivity of the camera, while the shutter speed has something to do with the exposure, no? The duration of the exposure of the sensor. Ngayon, ano naman yung aperture? Aperture refers to the opening in camera lens through which light passes. No? Yung lente, yan yung camera, tingnan niyo yung image na meron ako. Yan. Nakita niyo yung parang butas doon sa gitna. That's the aperture. Para siyang itim na blades. Na pagka inikot mo yung lente, lalaki, inikot mo yung lente, liliit. That's the aperture. Ang trabaho niya is the opening in a camera lens through which light passes. It expressed in F numbers. Larger F number means smaller opening and vice versa, affecting exposure. Okay? So, mas malaki yung F number, halimbawa F8 o kaya F4. F4, no? Versus F8. Mas malaki yung butas ng F4 kesa sa F8. Ang binibilang kasi diyan, ang binibilang kasi ng F number ay yung lapad nung gilid nung butas. Teka lang, i-zoom ko to. Paano ba to i-zoom? Yan. So nakita niyo yung butas, 'di ba? Ito yung butas. Ngayon, ang binibilang kasi ng F number, itong nasa gilid niya, yung laki niya to. Laki itong nakapaligid, kumbaga yung sumasara, yung blades na tinatawag. Kaya mas malaking number ng F, mas maliit yung butas kasi mas malapad ito eh. Halimbawa, ito, let's say ito ay F16, no? F16. Ganyan yung butas niya, pero 16 cm na yung yung nasa gilid niya ng butas, yung blades kumbaga. 16 cm. Imagine yung ganon. Okay? So, anong trabaho niyan? Kapag mas maliit yung butas, mas konti yung pumapasok na liwanag. Okay? So, ang point natin, kapag tingnan natin na maigi, the ISO is the eyes of the camera. No? Yan yung mata ng camera. Yan yung sensor, kumbaga, ISO. Yung sensitivity ng mata natin. Yung shutter speed Imagine niyo yung talukab mata ninyo. Yung talukab mata, yung nagsasara. So, gaano katagal na nakabukas siya? Yun yung shutter speed. O gaano kabilis na nakabukas yung mata natin. That's the shutter speed. Yung aperture naman, ito naman po yung salamin. No? Siyempre, kunwari may salamin tayo. Salamin na pwede nating mapaliit yung butas o mapalaki yung butas para ma-control natin kung gaano karaming liwanag yung pumapasok at gaano ka konting liwanag yung pumapasok. So that's the aperture. So, ano ba yung role nung ISO? Yan, basahin nyo lang yan. Nasa napaliwanag ko naman yan kanina. So, pagka nagpipicture tayo halimbawa, yan, nagpipicture tayo halimbawa ng tanghaling tapat. Anong kailangan natin gawin? Tanghaling tapat. So, maraming liwanag. Yung ISO natin dapat mababa, no? Less sensitive. Yung aperture natin dapat mataas yung f-stop para kaunti lang na liwanag yung papasok. Kasi pag sobrang laki nung butas ng aperture, maraming papasok na liwanag. Magiging kulay puti na lang yung picture natin, 'di ba? Nakita na kayo ng picture na sobrang liwanag, parang lahat kulay puti na, 'di ba? Tawag namin doon sunog ng liwanag yung picture. Lahat kulay puti. No? And then the shutter speed, depende po yan sa subject natin. Yung subject natin ba ay gumagalaw? Kailangan medyo mabilis. 1/100, 1/1000 na shutter speed kung gumagalaw. Kapag hindi gumagalaw, kahit mababa lang na shutter speed pwede. No, katulad ng 1/15. Meaning sa shutter speed, yung 60 seconds dinivide lang sa 15. 'Di ba? So mabagal 'yon. Okay? Meron pang iba yung mga light photography, ang ginagamit nila long exposure na tinatawag. Mas matagal na shutter speed, 5 seconds na nakabukas yung camera so they can draw the light. 'Di ba? Yun yung idea. Sana meron kayo napupulot, no? Ayan. And that's it for the digital art revolution. Okay? Now, na-record ko ba to? Ayan, okay. Now, let me stop sharing this and then share another slides. The time is, okay, give me few moments. So, ito yung reason kung bakit yung pinagawa ko sa inyo is to create posters of your products, di ba? Last time, pinag-conceptualize ko na kayo ng product. Now, you have to create posters for that because part of the reading visual art, yung modern art that we can do is to create art of e-commerce product. Yan. So, dahil kayo ay no? O kaya kayo ay most likely business management yung inyong course, kailangan matutunan ninyo or ma-realize ninyo that now, the reading visual arts is not really reading visual arts na nasa museum. But even visual arts na nakikita natin sa mga e-commerce website, Lazada, Shopee, ay meron ding meaning na gustong sabihin. No? And how can we, kung tayo yung business owners, business managers, how can we utilize the idea that are being taught in reading visual arts for our work in the future? So, let's discuss the photography of art of e-commerce. Teka lang, let me share my slide. Okay, can you see it? React naman kayo dyan. Heart react. Are you able to see it? Yan, good. Baka bulag eh. Anyway, so Yan. In creating photography or creating shooting images of our products, there are certain preparations that we have to deal with. We have to do. Number one is of course, importance of packaging. Yan. Yung packaging ng inyong produkto must be immaculate, maganda talaga, no? Walang wrinkle, dents, walang ganon because it can distract. Yan. It's essential to wear gloves to avoid fingerprints and remove any obstructive plastic seals. Yan. Tanggalin niyo yung mga sa tingin niyo hindi maganda. At linisin niyo yung mga fingerprint. Baka meron kayo, hinawak-hawakan niyo yung bote, may fingerprint na maiwan, pagkuha ng picture, kita yung fingerprint, di ba? Hindi maganda. Another is that preparing your products. Before a shoot, ensure your products are spotless. Walang dumi, walang kasiraan. Okay? Clean and polish them thoroughly. The appearance of products directly affect their appeal to customer. Yan. Tandaan nyo, you're shooting an image of your product. Kapag hindi maganda yung image ng inyong product ay hindi kayo makakapag-convince, di ba? Hindi bibilhin yung produkto ninyo kasi ang pangit ng image di ba? Then, choose the lighting. Yan. Photography is lighting. Photography is light. Yan, yun yung idea. Teka lang. Okay. So, now, in order for us to take a good picture of our image, of our products, you have to use lighting or lights. Ngayon, may tinatawag na different types of lightings. We have the natural light and the artificial light. Natural light is inconsistent. Yung araw, di ba? Yung araw is a natural light pero inconsistent siya. May time na maliwanag siya, may time na mapus siya o madilim, minsan kulay dilaw, minsan medyo madilim, di ba? So this is crucial for maintaining uniformity across product photos. Hindi mo naman pwedeng antayin, ay mamaya-maya konti pag lumiwanag, pwede ba yun? Di ba? Ang hirap naman ng ganun. So, it will lead us to use artificial light. Bakit? Kasi yung artificial light ay controlled mo, consistent. Pag binuksan mo siya ng ganoon, isaksak mo lang hanggat may kuryente, liliwanag siya ng ganoon. So, it's up to you kung saan mo gagamitin. Anong liwanag ang gagamitin mo, natural or artificial. But the idea, you can use both. You can use either of the two. You can use both together, no? But the problem with the natural is that it is inconsistent. Well, the artificial, medyo mahal ang artificial lights. And we have the continuous light, great for beginners. What you see is what you get. Yan. Pag sinabing continuous light, ito yung liwanag na nakabukas lang all throughout. Diba yung flash light, hindi siya continuous light. Anyway, preferred for its flexibility and power, a flash can freeze motion and overpower ambient light. Perfect for professional result. So, kung magamit tayo ng flashlight, flash siya yung flash ng camera. Hindi yung flashlight na pang yung pang gabi nag-brown out, hindi gano'n lang.
Meron sa kanya po sa tenga.
So, pag nakakita kayo ng studio, may namang light kayo na ma-encounter sa artificial light. Yung mga continuous light, nakabukas lang palagi, and the flash na galing sa camera. Ayan. So,
Sir, sira po yung audio.
Masakit sa tenga. Bakit? Bakit masakit yun? Hello.
Okay na po, sir.
Sige. Okay, so we have the natural, yung natural light is the sun, and then the artificial light, we have the continuous light and the flash. Yung room kasi, yung kwarto kasi rito sa yung ano, ma-echo. Siya na. Yan, itry natin yung noise suppress. Kaso baka may lalong mawala yung sinasabi ko. Ayan. Okay. So, yeah, there are different lighting options, natural light, continuous light, flash strobe. You can see it in the table, the advantages and the disadvantages. Yung backdrop selection. Kapag ka magpo-photograph tayo ng product, kailangan merong backdrop na tinatawag. Yan, or background. Yung iba background yung tawag, iba naman backdrop. Pag backdrop, ibig sabihin ito yung temporary background ng iyong product, ng image. So a clean white backdrop is a default choice for large items, wide roles, or seamless look. This setup eliminates distractions and help focus on the product. Paper backdrops come in various sizes. Half rolls work well for mid-size items, while flat lace suit small products. Multiple setups enhance versatility in shoot. Yung pinag-usapan dito is yung klase ng mga backdrop. No, yung paper backdrop, ito yung nirorolyo kapag ka may graduation. 'Di ba nakita niyo yung graduation ninyo nung senior high school kayo o kaya tama, senior high school. 'Di ba nagpa-grad picture kayo? Yung backdrop niya, ayun, ang tawag natin doon mga rolls na tinatawag. Yung nirorolyo. Yan, nakarolyo, tas ibababa lang. Yung paper backdrops naman, ito naman yung parang painting, yung kanyang setup, parang painting sa likod. Yun yung paper backdrop. Yung nirorolyo, ginugulong, rolls naman yung tawag natin doon. Yung flat lace naman, ayan, mid-size items, while flat lace suit small products. Yung flat lace, pang maliit lang siya na produkto. Parang halimbawa, papel de hapon, o kaya bond paper, colored paper, yung mga ganyang klase na smaller version, pang backdrop lang ng mga small items. Yan. And then we have the reflective object. Ano yung mga reflective objects? Kapag may liwanag na, minsan kasi yung liwanag hindi ma-control yung tama ng liwanag doon sa subject o kaya may gusto tayong effect na gawin. No, pag meron tayong effect na gustong gawin, we use reflective objects. Kumbaga, dinidirect mo yung reflection ng liwanag doon sa part na gusto mong tamaan ito. Ayan. So, diffusion paper softens reflection, crucial for reflective products like glassware. Ayan, yung diffusion paper. Imagine niyo yung liwanag 'Di ba yung sa studio, meron siyang lighting doon, tapos merong parang kulay puti na papel na nasa unahan nung nung object, anong light. May concept muna tayo ng soft light and hard light. Pag sinabing hard light, yung hard light po, ito yung direktang liwanag galing sa artificial light. Example, spotlight. Yung spotlight, nakita na kayo yung spotlight? Tapos nga, mag-heart nga yung nakakita na yung spotlight hindi stoplight. Wala pa? O di nyo na ako naiintindihan? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes po, sir. Sir, may mga nagre-react po.
Saan? Nasaan yung reaction nila? Sa chat. Chat nyo. Parang alam ko. Kasi di ko alam eh. Wala ring reaction. Wala sa akin. Wala. Di ba nag-heart kayo? Kanina, may heart ngayon, wala. Hindi ko alam tuloy yung reaction. Sorry.
Sir, ayan po, sir. May mga nagre-react po.
Hello, wala akong makita. Teka lang Ano ba, may problema pa dito sa akin? As in, wala akong nakikita. Gara lang. Teka lang Oo nga, pati ako walang reaction. Ay, meron na. Ba't ganun? Try nyo nga, isa nga. Heart nga kayo lahat. O yun. Yan, meron na. Ganun. O sige, kung halimbawa nakita nyo na yung spotlight, yung spotlight ay mayroong liwanag tapos meron siyang hard, yung pagkabilog niya, malinaw mo nakikita yung pagkabilog nung spotlight. That's a hard light. Okay? O kaya, yung cellphone ninyo may flash yan doon sa likod. Di ba may flashlight yung cellphone nyo? I-on nyo yung flashlight ninyo. That's a hard light. Kasi directly, nanggagaling siya sa maliit lang na source ng liwanag. Minsan isang LED lang. Kaya siya tinatawag na hard light. O kaya masakit sa mata. Yun yung concept, masakit sa mata. Pagka yung liwanag ay masakit sa mata, it's a hard light. Pero pag yung liwanag ay, alam mo yun, subtle lang, hindi ganun kasakit sa mata, alam mo yun, hindi nakakasilaw, diba? Soft light yung tawag natin doon. Ngayon, ano yung idea doon, sir? Ang hard light, kapag yung source ay maliit, hard light yung tawag natin doon. Okay, maliit. Pero kapag yung source ay malaki, malapad, malawak, naging soft light yon. Kaya ang concept, diba, ang ginagawa natin, yung flashlight mo ng cellphone mo, itinatama mo sa pader na kulay puti. Ano mangyayari? Diba, kakalat yung liwanag, magiging softer yung light mo. Isang way yun para ma-soften mo yung liwanag by using yung i-reflect mo siya sa isang malawak na, let's say, pader. No? Ang source na ng liwanag kapag ganun, hindi na yung flashlight mo kasi hindi na siya nakatama sa subject yung flashlight o yung sa cellphone mo nakatama na yung source ng light doon sa pader, yung pader na ngayon yung source ng light. Kaya nagso-soften yung light. Naintindihan ninyo? Ngayon sa photography, pag nakita kayo ng studio, pag nakapunta kayo sa studio, may mga nakikita kayo mga umbrella, mga reflective objects, kulay puti na malaking parang pamaypay o parang yung tinutuping pamaypay yung bilog. 'Di ba? Yan yung mga pang-soft, pang-pasoft ng liwanag para hindi ganun ka tapang o kaya kasakit sa mata yung tama ng liwanag. So, we have the diffusion paper, for example. Yan, yung diffusion paper. Imagine mo yung flashlight mo, lagyan mo ng bond paper, kakalat yung liwanag. That's the diffusion paper. Dinidiffuse niya o kinakalat niya yung liwanag. Photography cone naman, imagine mo yung cone ng ice cream, butas yung ilalim, tapos itataob mo ngayon yon. Itataob mo ngayon doon sa object. Halimbawa, singsing. Yung singsing, reflective yan eh. Ngayon, para maganda yung tama ng liwanag, gagamitan mo ng photography cone. Yung cone na yon, parang cone siya talaga, papalibutan niya yung item o yung pipicturan. Pag putok ng liwanag ng flash, gagapang siya ngayon dun sa photography cone. Ikakalat ngayon ng photography cone 360 degrees yung liwanag doon sa subject. Kaya mawawala yung reflection o yung, alam mo yung sa metal, yung reflection sa metal. And ayun na, advantages in photography. These tools maintain product aesthetics, ensuring buyers see true color. Yan. They prevent harsh reflection, offering polished professional results. Ito yung mga different types of reflective objects or tools. Turntables for photography. Turntable enhances product presentation by offering 360 degrees views. They engage viewers, allowing for interactive product exploration akin to handling the item. Mali yung mali yung image ko rito dahil mali ako ng nailagay. Sorry. Ang turntable, yan po yung patungan na umiikot. Alam niyo yung sa cake, na yung cake, di ba pag nilalagay siya ng icing, meron siyang parang table na umiikot para circular yung design. Ano ba, yung pabilog na cake. That's the turntable. Ang trabaho niya, para makita ninyo yung object 360 degrees. O kaya pwede mo siya mapaikot. Additional effect, kumbaga. Ayan. So ito yung mga turntable and tools na available. So for professional tips overview, number 1 is the correct white balance. Ano ba yung white balance, sir? White balance, in photography, we have the light additive process, di ba? Na ang konsepto ng additive process, when all colors come together, it will create white. Parang RGB, di ba? Yung red, green, and blue, when they all come together equally, they will create white. Di ba? So, ngayon, yung white balance na tinatawag natin, kapag yung puti sa paningin mo ay puti, lahat ng kulay will be corrected. Kasi meron kasing mga environment na magkakaiba. Hindi ko alam kung napapansin ninyo, pero may mga environment na magkakaiba yung idea ng puti. Magkakaiba yung kaputian ng puti. May puting puti, may iba namang putim, medyo yellowish, medyo brownish, di ba? May ganung konsepto. So, kailangan natin magkaroon ng white balance na yung puti dapat ay puti para lahat ng kulay tama. Naintindihan nyo? Yun yung idea ng white balance. Kahit saan ka magpunta o kaya anong oras ng araw, basta yung puti ay puti, lahat ng kulay susunod. Halimbawa, pag umaga, mapapansin niyo medyo madilaw yung liwanag, madilaw yung paligid. So yellowish yung white. Pagdating ng hapon, wala na masyadong araw, yung puti medyo bluish. Yan. So kailangan titimplahin 'yon. I-ensure mo na yung puti ay kulay puti para kahit umaga, yung dilaw, dilaw pa rin. At hindi siya sobrang madilaw kasi nga yung puti medyo madilaw-dilaw eh. So kino-correct natin 'yon. Ang hirap magturo ng no? Ang hirap magturo ng wala rin kaming camera nung time na 'yan eh. Ayan. And of course, the camera settings are very important. So up to high f-stop and low ISO settings, this maximize clarity and sharpness, providing crisp image and highlight product features prominently. Then edit, no? Balance edits. Avoid over-editing. Huwag mo masyadong i-over-process yung image. Kasi magiging peki na siya, parang hindi na totoo. Yun. Keep it true to life. This ensures products are realistic and relatable. Huwag yung sobrang edit. Kasi may time na may mga images na sobrang edit. Hindi na siya mukhang picture, mukha na siyang cartoons. Ganun yung idea. Realism in editing, minimal editing preserves product authenticity. Over-editing can distort reality, misleading consumers and possibly damaging brand trust in long run. The use of AI tools to simplify complex tasks like background removal. This ensures a professional, clean finish without consuming excessive time, enhancing efficiency. We learn editing, diba? We study editing for long time. For a long time for us to do the editing in a shorter period. Tandaan nyo yun. Inaaral natin yung pag-i-edit ng matagal na panahon. Marami tayong pinapanood, marami tayong tutorial na pinapanood. Para ano? Para mapabilis natin yung paggawa natin, yung pag-i-edit natin. Kasi pag marami ka nang alam sa pag-i-edit, diba? Magaling ka na mag-edit, mabilis mo lang natatapos yung trabaho. Kaya nga sinasabi ko lagi, yung mga ganon, mga editor, mga ganyan, dapat project-based yung bayaran dyan. Wag oras. Kasi, kaya kami nag-aral Kaya kami nag-aral ng ganito, nag-aral kami ng mga tools, nag-aral kami ng kung ano-anong mga program, mga software, para mabilis naming magawa yung task. Diba? Kaya hindi dapat kami inuurasan. So kayo din as a MM or business managers, yan, nasa business, kailangan marunong din kayo mag-edit. Kasi ngayong panahon, kailangan isa sa skill yung editing. Kahit mag-edit ka ng image, mag-edit ka ng picture, mag-edit ka ng mga posters, yun, aralin mo kasi mahalagang tools yun. Diba? Study now, apply later. Ganun naman talaga dati. Wala kang computer ngayon, mag-computer shop ka. Kaysa mag-Valorant ka na mag-Valorant, diba? I-try mo kung paano mag-edit. Diba? Kaya nyo yan. Okay? And of course, we have the tools and techniques. We have the color cards to correct white balance. We have the reflectors to fill shadows. AI background remover for clean image. And style shots for add emotion. Yan. Tandaan nyo na yung emotion are very important para sa mga audiences natin kasi through emotion, kaya nating makuha yung kanilang attention. Okay? And that's it. Okay? So, I'll stop the recording. Okay?